Maybe. All right. It looks like we are now live. Yay! I'm
Yay.
excited. And welcome everyone. I know it's going to pop up in a minute with the sound on. I'm not sure why that happens. And let's just do that quickly. There we go. So, welcome everyone. I am Larissa Russell of Creative You Business, and this is the Aligned Ambitions Women's Entrepreneurial Wisdom Show. I really have to change that title because man, oh man, I struggle with that word. Okay, well, today I have with me Megan Griffith. I'm just looking for your bio that was right in front of me 10 seconds ago. Give me one moment here. Nope, I don't know what I did with it. All right, see, this is the fun thing about going live, which I absolutely love. I'm just going to put that out there. I love being live, but then you have to trust yourself to have all the things where the things should be. I found the things. We're good. We're good. All right. Let's try this again. Thanks, everyone. Thanks for your patience as I struggle with lifing. So today I have with me Megan Griffith of Neurodivergent Magic, which this topic is very near and dear to my heart that we're going to talk about today. Megan is a neurodivergent life coach who is ADHD, autistic ADHD. Me too. She loves helping her fellow neurodivergent folks figure out how to both honor their limitations while also playing to their strengths. When she's not working, you can usually find her dyeing her hair. And yet your hair looks like a normal color today.
I know it's crazy. It's been a normal color for a couple months. I have a hair appointment. Don't worry.
Oh, I'm not judging. I'm just saying. So, for those who may not know you, which I can't imagine they don't with the following you have, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Of course, yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Megan. I'm a neurodivergent life coach, as I mentioned, or as Larissa mentioned. Um, so what that means is that I use my lived experience as a neurodivergent person to help guide other neurodivergent people through their experience. It does not mean I'm a therapist because I'm not a doctor, not anything like that. Instead of relying on like book smarts, I rely on like lived experience, which is funny because I'm one of those people. A lot of autistic people get told that they're book smart, not street smart. So that's just kind of funny. Uh, Anyways, so a big part of what I do is I help neurodivergent people get shit done. Is it okay if I swear? Is that allowed?
We're live and you do you, right?
Okay.
So,
I won't, it won't be excessive, I
I
promise.
don't have a problem with it. Um, you know, if they'll either resonate with you, this is my whole belief system. They'll either resonate with you, however you show up, or they won't. I'm tired of trying to put myself in a box for somebody else. So you do you. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. Well, then, okay. I help neurodivergent people get shit done. That is a huge part of what I do. And I help you do it in a neurodivergent way. Instead of like beating your head against the brick wall of neurotypicality, like we just open the door of neurodivergence and walk through instead. No, it's not always that easy. Neurodivergence is oftentimes a disability. And so that's very real, which is why part of my bio is, honoring limitations because they're very real. But also finding your strengths and realizing you don't have to do it the neurotypical way in order to succeed.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a big part. I have noticed that a lot of entrepreneurs seem like they're most likely neurodivergent. I don't want to, I'm not going to diagnose people, but just from my experience with my own diagnoses and what I've gone through much later in life, I was 50 when I found out. So, when I was diagnosed. So, just watching people, I would say many entrepreneurs fall on the neurodiversity scale somewhere. Just putting that out there.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
so, as a neurodivergent person, maybe tell your story of how you ended up doing what you do, like other than just, oh, here I have this, I'll share. There's got to be more to it than that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I don't know how no one noticed I was ADHD based on my career path because it feels obvious to me now. So I started out in undergrad in communication sciences and disorders. My 10-year plan was to go to grad school, become a speech language pathologist, and then work in an elementary school, have a bunch of babies, and have the summers off with my kids. That was the game plan. Then my senior year of college, I took a poetry class, like just for fun. And the professor was like, "Hey, you should do this." And I was like, Oh, okay, sure. So I got my master's in poetry instead of speech language pathology. And that was amazing. It was horrible and amazing. Grad school's a lot. But it was really cool and I'm very glad I did it. And from there, I decided to start freelancing while I looked for like a real job. So I found some jobs on like Upwork and Guru and Craigslist and whatnot and started freelancing. And while I did that, I interviewed at a bunch of like corporate jobs and I didn't get any corporate jobs, but I got a lot of freelancing jobs, like good jobs. So that's what I did for several years and it paid really well. It worked like I could work from home. And that was before work from home was like kind of normal. Um, and then this whole time since I graduated with my master's, I had been blogging, like just for fun, right? But around like late 2020, the pandemic was raging, and we were all stuck at home. My freelancing, I'd been doing it for years. It was starting to get boring. And I was like, you know what? I could monetize this blog, I bet. I bet I could do that. People do that, right? Like I could do that. And so I hired a business coach and made my first $100 in the first month, selling a did I make $100? I think I did. I was selling a boundaries ebook for like $5 and my holiday anxiety e-course, like how to deal with holiday anxiety. So anyway, I started selling digital products, running ads, but it became abundantly clear very quickly that that was not going to pay the bills anytime soon. So my business coach was like, "Well, have you ever thought about coaching?" And I was like, no. Like, I don't know about you, but Larissa, but like I come from a very like what's the word? We take pride in the fact that we're very hardworking, my family. Like I come from a family of farmers and factory workers, like hardworking folks. I knew that to them, the career of life coach would sound ridiculous. So, like that held me back for a while. Especially because I was in the mental health niche and I was like, well, I'm not a therapist, so I'm not allowed to help people, which like looking back is so goofy, doesn't make any sense. But that's what I thought at the time. Anyway, and so my business coach was like, just make one TikTok announcing yourself as a coach. Just one TikTok, announce yourself as a coach, just get used to saying it out loud. And I was like, okay, I can do that. No one's going to see it. My TikToks get like 200 views. It's fine. This TikTok goes viral. Okay. 2 million views in a week. All right. I had 50 discovery calls in a week. Like it was ridiculous. It just blew up. And don't get me wrong, I am not ungrateful. It's amazing that this happened, but I was not prepared by any stretch of the imagination. I didn't know how to coach. I'd never freaking done it before. I was just practicing. I was trying to embody the image of what I wanted to be. I wasn't prepared. And so like anyway, that's why I created a course on how to be a neurodivergent life coach. So, we'll check that out, maybe talk about it at the end. But if you are thinking about being a neurodivergent life coach, don't take the path that I took, please. It took forever. It was anxiety inducing the whole time. Like, don't go that route. Let me help you.
This is literally what I teach. Do not do what I did. Let me show you a different way because you do not want to waste your time doing what I did. I feel like, I don't know if it's my neurodiversity, but I have to do everything the hard way. And I am really trying to change that messaging so that I do not. It's like, could we just take the easy route once? But yes. So that's your sort of journey to your coaching. Can we talk a little bit about your past? And because you were you diagnosed late in life?
Later, yeah. Not
Yeah.
as a kid.
Yeah. Well, I was 50. I mean, you're not anywhere near that, so you got a good start on me. But I just want to talk about unpacking all that goes with that and how that can be really I don't want to say traumatic, but really difficult when you're starting a business. And I know I was told very specific things, and I had been in the corporate world where I had contorted myself into someone that I didn't even recognize. Now I can't even imagine it. And I don't know if it was you, somebody said, like when you take the neurodiversity, out of the box, and it's like that mattress you get sent to your home, and then you try to stick it back in the box later. There's no way. It's not going back in. Once it's poofed out, there's no way. And that's what neurodiversity to me is like. And so there's no way I could do that again. when you were coming to the realization, or maybe when you were diagnosed, whatever, um, how did you start to move towards being able to, I don't want to say work, it's not about working for yourself, but getting out of those roles that were laid out for you? Like you said, your family, had these very, these expectations. How did you move from there to where you are?
Yes, I love that question. So, I definitely have some roles that were assigned to me that were very neurotypical in nature. Like eldest daughter, good Catholic girl, all this stuff, like there were labels, even though I wasn't in the corporate world, there were definitely like boxes I had been shoved into. Um, and I think a big part of getting out of them was, first of all, recognizing they were there, that I was in the box. That was a process and a half, right? Like I
Mm.
didn't even realize it's so interesting. Like the whole concept of free will. It's like I made these choices, like I'm in charge. And you look back and you're like, am I though? Did I make that choice, or was that the only choice presented to me? Anyway, off track. So when I started to realize I was neurodivergent, a big part of my journey was testing stuff out, like just playing with different things. So like a very common stim. So stimming is just self-stimulatory behavior. It's something that everyone does, but neurodivergent folks, especially autistic folks, tend to do it a lot more, and it tends to have a much more soothing effect on our nervous system. But a very common stim for autistic folks is like hand flapping, right?
Mhm.
And I had never done that before, like in my life. And I was like, well, maybe it would feel good though. Like maybe that would be helpful. And so I like tried it, and it did feel really good. It was really helpful. Like doing that just now, like totally made me feel better. Like I would do this the whole interview if I could. Uh, so
You do you.
I feel like it'd be a little distracting. I'll try. I have a bunch of fidget toys around my desk and stuff, so I'll
Mm.
play with something. But um, yeah, so it just involved a lot of experimentation because I had always been shoved into one box, and people are like, oh, unmask. But I don't know that unmasking is really the right word for it, because unmasking implies that you take the mask off and there's like a whole fully developed you underneath. But for a lot of neurodivergent folks, our development was very stifled because of the boxes we were shoved into and the expectations we were held to. And so it's not really unmasking, it's more like regrowing. It's more like I forget what the word for it is, but when you burn the forest so that new growth can appear, it's a lot more
Mhm.
like that.
Yeah. That's perfect. That's perfect. Because you do. First of all, you have to burn it all to the ground. And then you're like, oh crap, now what?
Exactly. Exactly. And I guess going with that metaphor, you have to be really careful about how you do it, because people can get hurt with fire if you're not careful. And like that was a big part of my journey too. I was a very hurt person trying to figure all of this out. And in the process, I think I hurt a lot of other people. So you just, I don't know, you learn from your mistakes, I suppose.
Yeah. Yeah. So starting your business with, you've grown into it, of course. And I have to say, social media is one of the ones that I struggle with, like the showing up. And I've talked to you about this before, about the showing up consistently and all of that. How did, like, was it something you loved already? Like everybody has different, loves and passions, but, or was it something you had to like work at?
A little bit of both. I have always been a pretty avid social media user. Like my sister like doesn't have social media, and I don't understand her. Like she's Gen Z, they're a little different, but like I'm sure she's on some social media. I'm just not like cool enough to know about it. But she's not on the mainstream ones, right? And like I can't even fathom that. When I was in college like her, like I was on all the social medias all the time. I had Yik Yak back in the day when that was a thing. Anyway, like I was on all of them. So I've always enjoyed it as a user, but I had never really created. Um, I had dabbled in creation before. Like I ran a blog for a couple of months, and, sometimes I got pretty personal with my Facebook page or whatever. But when I started my business, I was playing with Instagram, a little bit with Tumblr, all this stuff. And my husband was like, Megan, you have to do TikTok. And I was like, no, that involves video. Like, are you kidding me? No. I tried to go live on Instagram once and I literally had a panic attack. Like, no. And then he's like, okay, but I'm telling you, like, there's so much mental health stuff on there. There's so much neurodivergent stuff on there. And which I knew because I was consuming all of it, right?
Mhm.
And so finally I was like, fine. And it really didn't take long for me to fall in love with creating content, especially on TikTok. I mean, I love my Instagram. So if you're here from my Instagram, I still love you guys. But TikTok is definitely my home when it comes to social media content creation and usership. Like as a content consumer, like I probably consume the most content on TikTok too.
Yeah, I'm a TikTok junkie. I absolutely am. But it's amazing to me. You have to be very discerning. I think all social media, you have to be very discerning. But the amount of things that I have learned about neurodiversity on TikTok have been astounding. And it's like you take this to your medical doctors and they're like, that's not a thing. That's a whole other conversation. But it's it's a challenge. So tell us how you built that habit then, because you have over 300,000 followers on TikTok. How long have
Yeah.
you been on there?
3 years. So I started January 2021.
Okay. And so how did you build that habit of doing TikTok or whatever social media, but like how did you build that habit?
Yeah, no, my habit with TikTok is different than my habit with other social medias. So I'm happy to talk about that one specifically. And then if you have questions about other social medias, we can talk about that too if you like. But
Mhm.
with TikTok specifically, the first hurdle I had to overcome was filming with my husband around because it was the pandemic. We were both stuck in the house. I had to film with him around. And I started in January. I wasn't about to go outside and film. It was cold. I live in Ohio. So um anyway, I had to film even though I knew he could hear me. And like that, oh, being perceived as an autistic person is a nightmare. And like I say that as someone on social media, but social media is different. There's like a screen that I can like exist through and like there's a tunnel that channels me and like I like that feeling whereas like just being perceived, especially being perceived trying hard at something that's supposed to look natural. Like you guys see my videos where I'm like blah 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 blah. He hears me do like 80 takes trying to get it to sound right, which granted I don't do so much anymore, but I did at the beginning, right?
Mhm.
It's a lot more natural now, but at first I was trying really hard to sound natural, which is like such an awkward thing to witness. Um, so that was the first hurdle was just like, okay, he can hear me. I can do this. Like, honestly, a lot of times before I started recording, I would do some like EFT tapping just to
Mhm.
like soothe my nervous system. Like, you can be perceived, you're not in trouble. um, so that was a big thing. But when it comes to more the ADHD side of my brain, like how do you form a habit? For me, it is my morning cup of coffee. So I know I'm gonna have my morning cup of coffee. I don't really function without it. So I know that's gonna happen. So I stacked my TikTok making on top of that. So it's like, oh, I'm having coffee. I guess it's time to make TikToks. Like I have the urge to make a TikTok right now because I'm drinking coffee. Like that's how strong the association is in my head now.
I love that the habit stacking. I think I learned that from you actually was habit stacking. And because yes, now my morning coffee doesn't work because I teach a class or I facilitate a class at 7 a.m. So I
Mhm.
get up, I grab my coffee, I come and do that. So I need to find a new thing that will do that for me because I love the coffee idea. Let's have coffee together. Um, but that didn't really work. And then once my day starts, I'm like, I get so immersed. And so I'm like, I need a
That's why I do
natural
mine in the
break.
beginning. Yeah.
Yeah, I need some natural break that I can do it. Because when I think of it, I'll do a whole bunch at once, right? And then
Mhm.
I'll just release them every day, but I don't think about it enough. ADHD
Mhm.
brain. And I've tried the I've tried the reminders, but then I see it, no, oh yeah, in 5 minutes I'll do that. And then
Mm.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
that doesn't work. So
Something
I,
else that's been helping me a lot is I got these chore charts.
I've seen those.
So I
Yes.
literally have film TikToks on here. And so I get a pretty little green check mark when I do my things. So that's always fun.
That's smart. Actually, that would work really well for those day-to-day things that you need to do.
Oh yeah, I've got one for me, my daily tasks, one for my 4-year-old and his daily tasks, and then one for the weekly house chores. So yeah.
Yes. All right. I see
And
the
they work
pain.
okay. I just, for everyone watching, like that would never work for me. I would forget about it. No, my goal, I bought these in early January. My goal is January, just don't forget they exist. That's the only goal. If I use them once, I've succeeded. Done. February is like, try to use them maybe once a week. And then March will be try to use them, like do something from each one every day, and just increasing my usage basically. So sustainability, not consistency.
Yes, that's a very good point. Because I think we get so caught in the, well, I have to do it all. And then if I don't do it all, oh, it's ruined. Can't do it. Right.
And
And
that's
so,
why I like these, because even though I didn't do the whole board, look at all the green checks. I still did some stuff. I still get little
yes.
dopamine bursts.
Are you one of those that has to have, this is me, out of sight, out of mind, right? So everything has to be right, running out of right here space. I'm going to do the Swedish death cleaning soon so that I can clean my office.
Yeah. Yeah. I am both ADHD in the sense that if it's out of sight, I forget it exists. But I'm also autistic in the sense that if there's too much clutter, I will lose my mind. So basically, I'm in hell like all the time.
I think that is part of having both, right? Because they conflict.
They
And so
conflict.
there's so many things where it's like, I have to have it this way, but I can't have it this way. It's like, it leaves you this very tiny margin of, yeah. And so then sometimes you feel, or you're perceived as being intolerant, or that you are not, you don't do change well and things like that. And it's like, I have this very little margin where the two sides of my brain are not fighting each other. And you need to work with that because I can't keep it up. So
I Something that has helped me, I wish I could like show you my layout right here, but like I have a desk that has these two little drawers off to the side. So I can't put stuff in the drawers that I like my chore charts could never go in the drawers or I'd forget about them. So instead, what I've put in the drawers are things that I functionally need and I know like they need to have a home, and then things that are fun that I know I'm not going to forget about because they're really fun. So like I've got all my charging cords in one box so that like all the charging cords are in a box. I don't have to search all over the house. They're in that box. They're right there. And then I have all of my like spell casting, witchy journal, spell candles stuff in another box. And that is like I'm not going to forget about it because it's fun and I like it. So like that's my system. That's how I keep some stuff off the desk at least.
that's a great idea. It's a great idea. I don't even want to get started on what mine is like. So if you could give one piece of, I hope this helps you with your business advice, what would that be?
Inchworming. That would be
Mm,
my advice, which I can expand on. So neurotypicals tend to move through the world like snakes, and this is not a judgment on their character, but like just movement, forward motion, consistent forward motion. They move back and forth in order to go forward. Neurodivergent people tend to move like inchworms. We bunch up, we do nothing, we nap, and we're basically incubating all of our ideas. And then we burst forward in just a glorious and incredible burst. I literally created an entire program yesterday. It did not exist yesterday morning, but it is fully fleshed out now. Like that is one of my bursts, and that's amazing. Now I'm probably going to sleep for the next 3 days. I got to do my bunch, right? Bunch and
mm,
burst, bunch and burst. So my advice would just be lean into that. Stop trying to be a snake when you're an inchworm. It's fine. It's fine for your brain to work the way it does. It's fine for you to work the way you do. There is no reason that business has to look one particular way.
yes, absolutely. It does not have to look one particular way. I talk about that a lot in my community about just allowing it to be what you want it to be. I realized the other day, because I send a Monday newsletter to my mastermind, and I, always ask, how's your weekend? And it just dawned on me, why am I asking how your weekend was? What is a weekend when you're an entrepreneur? What is a weekend? If you work for yourself, you get to choose when you have days off, when you work. Maybe you only work on Mondays. Maybe you only work on Sundays. It is completely up to you. And so I've changed that. How was your week? Let me know how your week was.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, we have to get out of those, the thinking like there's only one way of doing things.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So please, can you tell us about your new program?
Yes, I would love to.
Yes.
I would absolutely love to. It's the Neurodivergent Life Coaching Certification course. Now, Total disclaimer, it is not accredited with the International Coaching Federation. So not that kind of certification. When I say certification, I just mean you are certified in the curriculum that I am teaching. So just getting that out of the way so everybody's clear. But it goes through everything that I've learned on how to be a life coach for neurodivergent people as a neurodivergent person. So there are some like neurodivergent, especially ADHD focused coaching programs out there. However, I'm not totally sure that they're taught by ADHDers. Just they're never super explicit about that. So that always rubs me a little bit the wrong way. I want to learn from people who actually know what it's like. That's the whole point of me being a coach, is because I know what it's like. So I want to learn from someone else who knows what it's like. So if you're kind of in the same boat, you've been playing around with maybe being a coach, but you're neurodivergent and you're not sure you can do it, and all these other coaching programs just seem way too neurotypical for your brain, this one might be the right fit for you. So it's a course. It has 5 modules that go through, content marketing, what the first session looks like, what you should offer, all the crazy what ifs, and how to measure success. So those are the big modules. They're all video based. They're short, sweet, to the point, and they have workbooks to help keep you focused while you're listening. And until March 4th, it's on a really crazy discount, like almost half off. So usually the course is going to be $247, but until March 4th, as a founding member, you get access to it for $147, which is Bananasville. And then there's also like a VIP upgrade option. So if you're like, okay, that sounds good, but I'm going to buy it and completely forget that I have it, I'm just going to forget to use it. And then my business will go nowhere, just like it has been for years. Then I really recommend the VIP option. This is where you get 10 weeks of Zoom coaching with me. You get 10 weeks of Voxer access to me. You get all of my business, like digital products and courses. And then you also get social media audits for all of your social media channels that you use. So that is usually $3,500, but it's only $2,500. It's literally $1,000 off right now. So yeah, that is my spiel. The course is really designed to help people who want to do good in the world, but are unsure about the business side of things. Let me help you with the business side of things.
Yes, and focusing specifically on the neurodivergency, I think is really good, because there's so many people either don't really understand how that affects how you move in the world, right? Whether you're just diagnosed or not diagnosed. I think if you are not thinking like all the people around you, just go with your neurodiverse, because chances are you are not the problem. World around you is. So yes, I think Megan's course would be perfect for that. I was a little excited. I will be sharing it. I'll put the link and all of that. And I'm going to also put it in my email that goes out to my list, because I think it's a great program as an add-on to whatever you're doing. Right. So I think that's excellent. Well, Megan, I want to thank you. I had other questions and I even wrote them down, but when you get 2 neurodivergent people together and you're talking 500 miles an hour and you're just like enjoying it, then it's like, yeah, there's other things. Maybe we'll just have to have you back. I don't know.
Oh no, what a shame.
Yes, exactly. Well, thank you for being here.
Thank
And
you for having me.
yeah, I was excited. I really was excited to have you. So I just want to say thank you to our listeners. And if you're a woman interested in aligning your heart-centered business with your ethics, values, and life goals, join our Aligned Business Building Mastermind. We have accountability, like-minded women. Obviously, some of them might be a little neurodiverse as well. Resources, trainings, and you can get 90% off your first 30 days with the coupon code ALIGNED90, and the link will be below. So we will see you next time on the Aligned Ambition Show. Thank you, everyone.